So this is episode 6. Okay, so today we have here our guest today is Adri.
Who is it?
Yep. So he's like known in the Indonesian music scene as a legendary musician for singing in bands such as S.I.R.A.
Yeah.
He also has like a YouTube channel where he actually posts like covers and music related content, which has gotten like hundreds of thousands of views. So you guys go check it out.
Which is true.
What's the channel name?
It's my name. It's youtube.com/Adri Dwitomo.
Okay. Yeah, so you're currently also singing in this band called Cry Hearts.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
guys should check it out.
Yeah, check it out, man. Guitarist is an awesome guy from Singapore. Hell yeah.
Okay, so maybe just start like a bit of a history. Like, how do you get started in like this whole music journey?
Music journey.
Yeah, like, do you start a music instrument when you're young or something?
Well, so it's not that I came from a long line of musicians or like my families are musicians or something like that. But it's just that my family, me and my brother, and actually my parents are really into music. Like back in the day, like when I'm still like 10, 11, still in elementary school. I don't know what that is in Singapore, but yeah, elementary school basically.
Probably primary school.
Yeah. Like just snotty brat kids. You know? Yeah, we often go to this place. It's like a seaside cottage thing. There's actually like a nightclub there where there's a karaoke kind of thing. So
Wait, so that I mean, like you can enter when you're like 11 and 12.
hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, because like at that point of time, my parents were like very influential in that area, so I can do whatever I want there. So yeah, me and my brother, along with my parents, we always went there on the weekends to like just club, basically a kid doing club, but not really clubbing, but we're doing karaoke. So back in the day, we always sing to like Michael Learns to Rock, like Queen, and all that. So I got influenced by all these bands from the get go. It's because of my parents, basically, because of my dad was also actually a music enthusiast, because back in Jakarta we have like this whole room dedicated for just listening to music, kind of like like an audio room kind of thing. So yeah, I'm just exposed to music straight on from early, and I started getting into this kind of genre, this metal, rock, and hardcore, and all that. It started when one of my cousins were actually. We went to his place to do like a family trip or family get together or whatever, and then he gave this album to me, and it was actually Incubus, Incubus and Slipknot.
Wow.
So it's two very different genres, but it kind of propelled me to where I am today. The album that that he gave me at the time for Incubus was the Science album. It's mainly like Incubus where they're doing hip metal. Yeah. So it's there's awesome songs like Gravity or something or whatever. I even forget the songs now, but when it plays, it's my jam. Basically, that's also when I got into like the whole music scene, and I definitely want to be a singer because of Brandon Boyd, the singer, and like I want to get my ears pierced, I want to get tattoos and all that. It's because of him, because of Brandon Boyd. And so the other album is actually the Sick album from Slipknot. It's the surfacing, the spit it out, wait and bleed, and all that. So yeah, that one got me into like the underground scene.
Okay.
So at one point I was listening to this Incubus, which is like consists mainly of acid jazz, hip metal-y kind of thing that they're doing at the time. But I was also like infatuated with this rough, rocky metal, hard rock kind of sound from Corey Taylor.
Yeah.
So actually, like the two vocalists from those bands are actually like my idols. I gotten to learn vocals from them, like vocally, like stylistically from them.
Right.
So yeah, and after that, like I got into junior high. What, secondary is it here?
Yeah, Bobby's case.
Yeah.
That's like
How old was it?
I don't know, like 15.
Secondary school.
Yeah. So I got into band. Like I got into band a lot. Like at that time, I'm still into Incubus, like their Drive song, like Wish You Were Here and all that jazz. And I was also into like Green Day, My Chemical Romance, and Sum 41 at the time.
Yeah.
My Chemical Romance was very, very new at the time.
Uh,
Yeah, it was very new at the time. I only listened to Helena at the time.
Okay.
And yeah, I got into music. I played music with like a couple of bunch of friends from my place, from my school at the time. And from then on, I started wanted to get into like playing music and all that. So that kind of propelled me to where I am today. And when I got into senior high school, at those time I was actually not in the same school as my brothers. I was actually separated. I was always with him till elementary. So after elementary, we got separated because I was always the bratty kid. I was always like doing shit, you know. So yeah, we got separated. But on at senior, we got together again. He was studying at my school, so we're at the same place basically. So he's just one year older than me, right?
Okay.
So we started a band. Actually, my brother and his friends started a band, and then they were playing like rehearsing and all that. And then we went to like a shitty band practice kind of studio place, which only takes like $1.50 Singaporean to play on, to rehearse on.
Wow.
Yeah,
per hour.
yeah. But for us, that amount of money is everything, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like it's economically different, you know. Indonesia is very different. But yeah, so we played songs from The Use at the time.
Right.
The Use and Fall Out Boy.
Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, The Use, Fall Out Boy, and blah blah blah. So, but I was just on the sidelines. I didn't do anything. But I actually was. I got tutored into doing drums. Yeah. So at one point in my life, I really wanted to play drums.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I just did. Oh, it's mainly because I was very, very fond of Joey Jordison from Slipknot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I really wanted to be like him. I even have like a million rubber bands around my hands at one point of time because of him. But yeah, so I was actually decent at it at the time. And so they were practicing this, my brother's band. They were practicing, and then they couldn't really get the tempo or the beat or whatever. And then I stepped in. And then because I was always there on the sidelines, like, I can do this, man. I can really do this. And then I stepped in and then I did my part. And yeah, I looked cool with doing it. I don't know how it looked, but I think I did better than the other guy. You know?
What happened to the other guy?
I don't know. They kicked him out. I don't know. I don't even remember his name. I'm sorry. But yeah, they kicked him out, and then I got into the band. It was easier because my brother was singing, right? And at the time, nobody could sing like my brother. This was at senior high school. So actually, the school where I went to had a lot of indie bands that were actually quite big in the music scene around Jakarta. One of those was actually the vocalist for a punk emo band in Jakarta called Side Project.
Okay.
The Side Project. And we got close with him because he noticed that we could play music in the scene, kind of. So yeah, we just covered like The Use, Fall Out Boy, and from there we straight away got into a Static Lullaby. So we got into screaming dead on straight away. Static Lullaby, and The Use, like the more heavier kind of The Use. And we really got into it, and then we formed a band called S.I.R.A, S-I-R-A, Soul in Rebel Art.
Oh, okay.
That was way back when MySpace was still a thing. So back in my day, we have MySpace.
Nice.
We have MySpace to really, get your name out there.
Right.
So yeah, we have MySpace at the time, and I was really into MySpace. I was like doing all of the HTML coding and stuff, and I'm seeing all of this bands popping up from the States, like Skylit Drive, Pierce the Veil, Alesana, and all that. I was like, God damn, they have awesome websites, and I really wanna do them. And their songs were actually like what we wanted to be like, you know. And we didn't have that amount of song back in the day, like amount of quality back in the day. So yeah, after that, we got into this band called S.I.R.A, Soul in Rebel Art, and we started playing and having our own songs and blah blah blah. And then we got into like this whole friends we got to know like this indie scene back in Jakarta, Indonesia, which is very, very huge at the time.
Right.
Which
Okay.
is very big at the time. Okay, what was the question again? I was
Uh,
rambling.
like kind of like the backstory of
yeah,
the
yeah.
music
So
genre, right?
so that's it. So that's where I got into music, and then I followed it up with finally like a band that I can play drums in, which I played drums at the time, and like I saved to buy double pedals and
Right,
stuff
right.
like that. But yeah, and
okay.
that's my first band, Soul in Rebel Art.
So the band you just been a drummer throughout, or do you like do any vocal stuff for that?
I actually do a bit of vocals when playing live.
Oh, yeah?
But for our recordings, it's basically my brother singing and screaming and growling and doing stuff. But all of the members in the band are actually high school mates.
Okay.
Just like maybe a year into the band, or maybe like a year into the band when we're actually doing gigs and stuff all around Jakarta and actually Indonesia at that one point of time, kicked our guitarist out because he couldn't really commit and follow tempo. He was very jazzy.
Free time.
So yeah, we kicked him out and we got this chick guitarist actually. Yeah, she was actually playing for one of the huge talents from Indonesia, a female singer from Indonesia.
Okay.
Her name was Gita Gutawa, and she was actually like the
Session
guitarist for her band. She was actually finding for a band to reside onto, so we were like, yeah, come and join us, like we could chill, like we could really play metal music. And so after her joining our band, we actually came up with a decent song for our band, which has like melodies and leads and all that, because actually like one of our guitarists, our original guitarist, couldn't really play lead. He was always a rhythm guy. So before she came on to the group, the band, we have songs that don't really do like leads and stuff and melodies and stuff, because at those time, like, you gotta do leads, man, if you wanna be metal. But we couldn't really do that, so we actually offset that with my brother singing, because he was the only guy who could do like high pitched vocals and screaming at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think that's quite interesting. But like in Singapore, I don't know how you guys like over there find like if you want to find like new guitarists or new musician to join a band. How do you actually find like
MySpace, dude? I told you. It's mostly MySpace and no, there wasn't any Facebook. No, it was MySpace basically. So
MySpace.
we got to know this girl because she was just the only she was the only one that's outside our circle, right? Because everyone else was our high school mates, and the vocalist is my brother. So we couldn't really know a way to find other musicians or other players or whatever. But then because of MySpace, because we were actually booming on MySpace at the time with our shitty music, because we were like the only Indonesian band from Jakarta that has a decent MySpace page because of me. Because of decent MySpace page, and we have a bit of attraction there. And then I think I remembered her reaching out, or maybe some other guy reaching out to us, and then said that, hey, I have this guitarist that maybe you could maybe wants to join you, or blah blah blah, or I could get you guys together or some way. Yeah. And then I mean what I remember is me and my guitarist, which is actually the guitarist for Sunrise after all those years, we went to her show. We went to where the female singer is performing, and she was doing guitar for her. And it was like on the outskirts of Jakarta, is nearing Bekasi areas. So it's outside of Jakarta. It's outside of the city. We went there, and she was like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And then, we known her because we know this other band called Omelette. Because and the guitarist for Omelette is one of the prominent guitarists in the scene in Jakarta, and then we know him, and then I think he sort of introduced us to her, and then that's where it got started. And then she was just so welcoming, and she was very metal. And she's using like a Jackson guitar, and she was like, oh, what brand is that? We don't know.
Just pointy guitar.
Yeah, pointy guitar. But our guitarist at the time, Ami, which is like the guitarist for Sunrise. When I was still in Sunrise, he just left Sunrise also. he has like a Gibson Les Paul custom kind of guitar, and he was actually like, "Whoa, it's a $2,000 guitar!" Like, "Whoa, awesome!" And then she known this girl because that's actually a Jackson guitar. She must play really really good metal or whatever. So like that. And then we got together, and then we released a song called "The End." We posted it on MySpace and it blew up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because I asked a question because like in Singapore, back in the era,
Before
kind of like
Facebook.
before Facebook. Actually, how we find like other musicians is like we have this sort of like local music forum. It's called Soft.
Oh, soft.
Yeah.
Stands for Sounds of Friends Together.
Yeah.
Cheesy
Sounds
name,
of
but
Friends
yeah. So
Together.
basically, it's this like sub forum called Musicians like Marketplace. So it's like
Yeah.
we always like post stuff there. Okay, like we have a guitarist, looking for guitarists, looking for drummers. And that's kind of how we like sort of find. We started like a band in our secondary school days, like solely from like finding people on Soft. So like basically meeting out strangers and let's go for a jam. Then we kind of like played our first gig playing like similarly, like 4 boy songs or so.
So it's soft.com.
Yeah, some.com.
.sg, yeah.
It's not soft demand, right? That's it.
Yeah,
Okay,
but-
well, no, that story. Okay,
Yeah, but I don't think we did. I don't think we did use much MySpace. Like,
so you guys didn't do much MySpace.
I don't,
I mean, I remember using it to like find bands, like,
yeah.
but it's like a social media. I think like I only remember Friendster.
Yeah, Friendster, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Friendster is more popular like for people to
Yeah, because
at
like
each other.
because we were using Friendster as well back in Indonesia. Like everyone was
personal
using Friendster, but it's more like Facebook nowadays.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think MySpace is more like band oriented.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like because MySpace was everything, dude. Because
yeah,
like
everyone uploaded their tracks there and stuff.
Yeah,
Right?
it's
yeah.
It's
You
like
can
the Bandcamp of.
yes.
then.
But like Bandcamp ain't got shit on MySpace.
Yeah. But you can like see that top 6 and you can see like
Yeah, dude. Like it's just MySpace was so revolutionary for at that time, you know, because you can like feature 6 or 12 musicians on your page, and then you get affiliated with this musician. Oh, this guys know this band. Or this guy knows this band. Or if a band have a personal page on like a guy up on their featured like, oh, this must be a
Legit,
very
yeah.
important guy because this band is featuring him or whatever.
Yeah.
It has that feature, right? And it also has the feature of you customizing your image in a way, you know, like your presence. And then it's very easy to just go there and find, because like if you think about it, right, their discovery feature is crazy because and it's organic because
it's
they're
definitely
making
organic, yeah.
everyone featuring like all
Someone
of this
else, yeah.
someone else, and like this unknown user, and then having like another user go onto that band's page and then seeing that this user is actually blah blah blah. You know, it's very organic. Everything is very organic, but I don't know. But yeah, but we used MySpace for everything back in the day.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
So how do you end up in like Sunrise? Is that like one of the I don't know major?
No, man. Sunrise was kind of like it's after shit went down for myself and my brother actually. So this is a long story if I'm telling it to you guys, but so basically me and my brother was actually like the prominent figure inside of this band, Soul in Rebel Art, right? Because we have tattoos, because I have plugs, and my brother can sing crazily high pitch notes and all that. So we were like the prominent figures. But also there's Pipit, which is actually the guitarist, the female guitarist, which is greatly contributes to the band in terms of music making and all that. But the thing about the band is it didn't go anywhere. We didn't even have an album. We didn't even have an EP.
Okay.
So what crazy is that we could survive off just a few songs on MySpace, and then we toured Indonesia because of that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we made friends with a lot of awesome band on that tour. We've made friends with S.I.R.A, one of the, like a mathcore band from Indonesia. But back in the day, there wasn't any mathcore band. So they were like they were like the first who did mathcore band. You should check it out, A.R.C.K.
Yes. Okay.
And then there was also this band. I fucking forgot their name. Shit, I forgot them. But we did this tour, the three of us, three bands on tour, And then we made headlines and like indie forums and here and there. And they were doing tours and stuff. And we met a lot of huge bands and also like influential people in the scene. And so, yeah, we got it off from there. And it's just crazy how things went. And then, because me and my brother didn't really want to be just in that sort of place, just circling around those places. This is actually it went on for a couple of years. So after senior high school, we went to university, right? That's just how the step goes in Indonesia, right? When we were going to university, we were still doing tours and stuff with our band S.I.R.A, which doesn't have any EP and album at all. We were still holding on to that little bit of fame that we had back in the day. So my brother met this guy who is a very influential guy in the music scene, and also like everyone knows him, which is he is Kevin Aprilio. He is the son of a famous composer in Indonesia, Adri MS. And he was famous because he did a bunch of composing. He was also like one of the composers from Indonesia that went to the Philharmonic to do like composing and stuff. And then he was the only guy who did a Final Fantasy themed musical event in Indonesia, like a very big orchestra of Final Fantasy songs.
So he had to arrange the whole thing, is it?
Yeah. It was crazy. So he has influential from like the older generation and also the younger generation, this IDMS. And he has this kid called Kevin Aprilio. And this is a funny story, but we actually know this guy back when we're still doing MySpace. At this time, we weren't really doing MySpace anymore because somebody else bought MySpace and it went to shit. And we were doing Facebook, right?
Okay.
So at this time, we known that this guy exists not as Kevin Aprilio, but as this persona called Liberty. Yeah.
Wow.
So this guy has a very Japanese visual kei kind of style. He always had his hair up. He always had like a Japanese flag kind of headband. And he's really good on piano. He's one of the best young piano players in Indonesia at that time. Right? So this guy approached my brother because he saw a cover that my brother and me made on YouTube for YouTube. There was like a cover of Escape the Fates, Harder Than You Know, a cover of If It Means a Lot to You from A Day to Remember. Yeah,
nice.
like a couple of scene songs that were a hit for those times. So he saw that, and then he approached also my brother, and then he wanted to make something with him, right? And he was actually affiliated with a band called S.I.R.A, which is a major label, big band, big name in Indonesia. And then they were doing pop songs, but has like a punk and scene twist on it, because the guitarist of S.I.R.A is actually the former guitarist of a very big emo band in Indonesia called Killing Me Inside. So it's just all over the place, and one thing leads to another, and everyone met. It's kind of like a tight-knit community, so because everyone knows everyone. And then this guy approached Oso, wanted to form something with him, and then I think they wanted to do a duo, him and my brother. So him playing the piano and my brother doing the vocals and stuff. And then he presented this format to his label, and then the label wasn't really interested. So they talked about it, and then my brother asked me to join, because I was doing the cover with my brother, right? I was like doing guitar and shit, because I was just strumming my ass off. I didn't really do anything. But I did sing also.
All right. Okay.
But because like I learned like the majority of my singing skills also from my brother. So yeah, we got together. So we kind of like wanted to form a trio, right? And then Kevin presented this format again to the label, and the label didn't really accept it, right? Because Kevin was affiliated with this other band that's on the label as well, which is S.I.R.A, right? Which is a very, very big name at the time. They were well known. They were like, it's just very popular back in Indonesia. And even with the presence of Kevin, which is already popular, it's kind of like a ensemble of superstars back in Indonesia. So yeah, and then that happened, right? And so Kevin kind of like presented this whole new concept that me and my brother should just go do a duo kind of thing, just exactly what we did in the YouTube videos. So yeah, we did like a couple of songs and blah 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 blah, blah. And then we released this one song called "Someone," which features the vocalist from S.I.R.A as well. And then that blew up also because it was kind of like a merge from like the underground hardcore scene, which is me and my brother.
It's like a fusion.
Yeah, it's like combining with the mind of Kevin, which is like a more of a popular scene, kind of like a mainstream kind of thing. So it's kind of like it's a combination, like a fusion of both. We were at a unique place, you know. And then that happened, and then that happened, and then we got into the major label, which is fairly a big label in Indonesia. It's Musica Studios. They produce some of the big name bands from Indonesia. One of them is Niji, The Massive, if you guys know, and Peter Pan, possibly like the number one band at the time. In Indonesia and possibly Southeast Asia.
Right.
Yeah. And so we were like in a very lucky place at the time. We weren't so lucky because the label, the major label, wanted to concept us, wanted to
control like the direction,
the direction that we're going music wise, you know.
I see.
So we didn't went with the image of this two emo guys doing music. We were actually like wanted to go to like a scene aesthetic kind of a vibe, also like a never shout never kind of vibe. Back in the day, it's like acoustically kind of like a secondhand serenade kind of vibe. Back in the day, but they didn't want any of that shit. And at that time, K-pop was booming. Yeah, man. And then shit went haywire, and then we started dancing for some reason. I don't know, man.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, man.
So you guys actually like
became like a boy band.
Yeah, man. I don't want to talk about it, but yeah, that happened. But yeah, that happened, and then I decided to just this is not my thing, and then we weren't really making anything because people could tell that it's not what they're meant to do. It's not in their hearts to do, and the label itself is not promoting us.
Right.
It's kind of like it's just a thank you project because it's a thank you sign of Kevin wanted to be in that label. Because Kevin was a very influential person, right? And then him being inside that label is a very good thing for the label. And then Kevin presenting this duo, which is me and my brother at the time, it's just a way of the music label saying, "Oh, okay, we'll take them, but it's only because of you." It's kind of like that. Yeah, it's kind of like that. So
like a favor to
it's
Kevin.
A favor. It's like a thank you thing. So that didn't really work out. We parted ways, and during those duo times, me and my brother did actually like radio tours and blah blah blah. And at those times, we wanted we need session players, right, to do our music. And then that's where I met Chandra, the current guitarist for Sunrise. And Cry Hearts. So that's when we met him, and then he also had a band, which is Sunrise. So Sunrise was actually his baby. He was actually the guitarist of a pretty well-known band also in Jakarta called Yeah It's You, I think. Yes, It's You. Yeah, It's You. Yeah, something like that. So back in Indonesia, there's this thing called Cruise. It's a clothing line. Yeah. It's a clothing line, and they also do music stuff. It's like a indie music label kind of thing. So actually, this Yes It's You band, and also like Killing Me Inside back in the day, which they're still here now, is one of the Cruise's lineup. Lineup of bands, right? And then he was actually from that space, from that era, but he got out of that band. He went to play with us because he wanted to do YouTube covers.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. So that's why like around those era in the same time we were doing like covers on YouTube as well. Like a spin-off, like a spin-off K-pop songs we turned into metal songs. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Actually, so what year was this like?
This is like
2010-ish?
Yeah, 2010-ish. 2012 maybe.
It's like very early days of YouTube kind of thing, right?
Yeah, early days of YouTube.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get 10K on YouTube, just like
Yeah.
that. Possibly like 50K. It's very easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so yeah. We did that with him, and I got out of the duo thing, right? So he was actually finding for a vocalist to fill in his position as a vocalist in Sunrise. So that's why that's where I came in. He recruited me because he wanted to alter the direction of the band. Because they were actually playing punkish songs at the time.
Right.
So he wanted to recruit me, thinking that we could make it more emo, more post-hardcore, and that's what happened. I kind of transitioned Sunrise into what it is currently, which is a emo band kind of thing. Yeah, and then that happened, and then that went on for a couple of years, and then I got out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe just give a little bit of context to the listeners. Like, I don't know, what's the like Sunrise most popular song on YouTube?
Popular. I think the most popular song on YouTube is currently Break.
Like how many views? do
I'm
you
not
guys-
sure. Let's see.
Like 300,000, right? At least.
I think so. That's like one of the first songs. That's actually like our
Was it?
debut.
Okay. Wow.
Like our debut song after we got into Cruise, the music label kind of thing. So we got traction from there. We had it's 331,000.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's like our breakthrough song. But we had like a couple of songs before that. We had it's a very alternative kind of sounding songs before that. We actually released an EP before that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we released an EP called When Daylight Fades. There's like 5 songs inside there. Like the majority of the melodies and lyrics were done by me. The music were all done by the band. And the release of that EP was actually where we got Ami, the original guitarist from S.I.R.A, to join the band.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah. So then there was me, there was Chandra on guitars, there was Ari, which is the drummer's best friend, which is Putra. And actually, there's actually a bit of history for Putra because he was Puput, because he was actually the former session player for Killing Me Inside. So we got like a bit of exposure boost from him too. And then the other guitarist is Ami, the rhythm guitarist. And then after, so that Break song is our first foray into this lineup that people could say that it's our strongest lineup.
Right.
Yeah.
So far, like all these bands, like you're performing like lyrics in English or like is it?
So I think what made Break huge because it's a combination of Indonesian and English lyrics.
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually inspired by a lot of Japanese musicians because they combine Japanese lyrics
like Japanese
and English lyrics into one, right? And at that time, I was listening to a lot of One Ok Rocks, and they were still like indie at that time. They weren't that huge, so I was inspired by them to create this blend of Indonesian and English lyrics.
Okay.
Nice.
And then we made that, we released that, and then it blew up, and everyone started always requesting that song. And then we also did another song. We released the second video after Break, which is the sad song, which is and I also did that one in a way that it's a combination of Indonesian and English lyrics, and people love that too.
Nice.
And then things started going slowly at first, and then we actually managed to build a full album out of the released songs.
Oh.
And then we had this huge launching party back in Jakarta. And like shortly after that, like a month or like maybe a couple of months after that, we were touring at Semarang. It's a city near Yogyakarta. We were touring there. On the way to that time, like Chandra kind of like told me that there was some talks going inside the band that they want me out. Because at that time, I already had plans to marry my wife, my current wife, which is a Singaporean.
That's why you're here in Singapore.
That's why I'm here in Singapore, baby. But yeah, so knowing that, they kind of wanted to softly kick me out of the band because I specifically told them that I can still tour with you guys as long as it's on weekends. Because like I mean, if you think about it, Singapore and Jakarta is not that far away. It's just one plane away, and then they didn't say like explicitly like, dude, we want you out. But I could tell, and I could tell that they're like, like swimming around what they're trying to say. So I was like dead on. I was like, okay, if that's the case, then I'm just resigning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think one of like valuable things I'm bringing to the audience is also, like the differences in like how I don't know the music scene in Indonesia versus how like things are being practiced in Singapore.
Yeah.
Like you guys mentioned that you're like usually you finish an EP or album, then you guys actually get to tour. But in Singapore, you can't exactly tour from like Jurong to like Toa Payoh. Just the whole, I think quite interestingly, like how like, have you noticed the differences in how the two different scenes in Indonesia and like Singapore, how does it operate? Like the whole rite of passage, usually in Singapore, there's not a lot of things to look forward to. Like usually bands like, okay, there's like this one big festival in Singapore called Bay Beats.
Yeah, that I know.
There's like one of the biggest like sort of platforms where you can have like such.
Yeah, we were actually at one point of time we were actually like basing our goals off that because it's based off Bay Beats and Music Matters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because like, hey, we as a band really wanted to tour outside of our country, right? And like, I mean, Singapore is the closest one, so we approached Bay Beats and Music Matters or whatever, and then one of their prerequisites it's that the band has to have an album. Yeah, and then like. Oh yeah, dude, we need to
write an album.
write our album super fast for this, and then we never got around to it because like shit happened, and then we never toured Singapore, but we did tour Malaysia.
Okay,
close enough.
It's close enough, right? I mean, like because we were friends with bands from Malaysia at the time. We were friends with Patriots and Sekumpulan Orang Gila.
Oh yeah,
SOG.
wow. All very good bands.
Yeah, we were friends with them, and then the exposure that I've gotten from the Singaporean scene was actually from one of our friend Agung, which is the bass player for Viles.
Oh, Viles.
Yeah,
Sorry.
for Viles. He kind of like notioned us to, hey, play Singapore, blah 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 blah. And then that's like my first exposure that there's actually a scene in Singapore. Dude, like, and no offense, like. Oh, there's a scene in Singapore. It was because of him and because of their release. But we know because I was actually dating my wife at the time, right? So we know that there's a thing here in Singapore that there's like an event where bands gather and blah blah blah, which is like Bay Beats and Music Matters. But we didn't know that there was a scene here.
Like similar genre.
Yeah, similar genre of what we're playing back in our hometown. So yeah, I mean, if you're talking about what's the rite of passage in the Jakarta or in the Indonesian indie scene, when you have an album, that's basically like the goal is have an album. Yeah, I mean, I don't know like now what it is now because like of all the digital distributions and all that, right? But back when I still had a band with Sunrise and whatever, our goal was to just have an album. And then we can tour, and then we can like promote easily and blah 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 blah. Physically, we have an album physically. So that was like our main goal at the time.
So when you say like tour, what do you mean by that? Like, do you book your own shows or you find like someone to like?
So at that time when I was still with Sunrise, we were affiliated under Cruise, right?
Oh, okay.
So we got together with Cruise, and then they will. Manage and book us through their like contacts all over Indonesia, which is like there's like a couple of cities that are mostly like hotspots where you want to tour back in Indonesia. It's always Jakarta. Jakarta is always the final because you go outside first and then you come back to Jakarta and then you play your hometown gig kind of thing. Okay. So it's always Yogyakarta, Semarang, Surabaya, Solo, Bali, and actually that's it. That's it. Like the major cities out there. That's all there is. Yeah, that's all the ones. Right. And then Jakarta and also Bandung. Bandung, yeah. But yeah, like if you can just go to those cities and like play on like a couple of gigs there and also do radio shows there. Like you just play acoustically on a radio and like talk about your album and whatever.
Damn, there's still like radio stuff that.
Oh yeah, man. Hell
that
yeah.
features this kind of like this genre of music.
Yeah.
Cool. Like
Yeah.
independent kind of radio. Or?
Independent kind of radio and sometimes campus radios.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we also we did like radio tours in Indonesia itself, like online radios, like campus radios,
Oh, damn.
and like a few like big radios, but they nobody really listens to them anymore. But yeah, I mean, back in those days, we were still doing that. But yeah.
Nice. Oh, okay. There's something different. I don't think in Singapore, like if you're playing this kind of music, you don't really have that kind of avenue of publicity.
That's why I think out of all the bands, I mean all of the bands that shares this same genre that we had, like a post-hardcore, emo, metalcore genre, we always have that one song which can be played.
Like the radio friendly song.
Yeah.
The sell
Like
song.
commercial.
Yeah. So we always have that easy listening song that we could play just anywhere, and it has to be in Indonesia.
Oh, is it?
It has to be in Bahasa Indonesia. If it's not in Bahasa Indonesia, you won't go anywhere. This is
Like a strategy.
yeah, it's mainly a strategy, and it works because like we did a couple of songs all in English and it doesn't really translate back in the day, right? After we did Indonesian songs with Bahasa Indonesia as its main lyrics, or as a combination of English and Bahasa Indonesia, it got huge.
Right.
It was proven, you know. So I think the only band that has English lyrics, like a full English lyrics, and it's one of the accepted widely in Indonesia, is actually like some songs from Niji.
Okay.
They like because they were already huge at the time. So what stuff they put out, people listen to. It doesn't really matter, right? Because if you're under contract with a major label and you're really that good, and the major it doesn't have to be that you're really good. You just need that one hit wonder song, you know, and then you can just push that song all the way until it dies.
You have to try.
Yeah,
It's like the muscle.
yeah.
of
That's Indonesia basically. Like if you have one hit song and then it's very catchy, and then it's Bahasa Indonesia, and you push that song until it dies, you can get huge. Get big.
Nice. But the audiences that are listening to like these songs that are in Bahasa, Indonesian, aren't they also listening to like the English bands?
Yes,
like,
that's true. But you have to realize that Indonesia is very huge.
Yeah, it's
right?
like super.
It's huge, and the majority of people that understand English is very little. The majority of people that understands what we're trying to say with the English lyrics is little, and it's mostly concentrated inside Jakarta.
Okay.
And then again, if you really want to get huge in the scene, you have to go outside of Jakarta. And like majority of people outside of Jakarta don't really care about English lyrics.
Right.
Yes, they do listen to like a lot of the English based songs like S.I.R.A Dying or like emo songs like In the Use or whatever as their base. But when they hear a local music and it's written in Bahasa Indonesia, they go crazy. Because they can really relate to it, you know?
I see.
So like the education in Indonesia, do they teach English?
Yes, they do.
So they actually learn English. So
They learn English. Like, but back in
like
the
a
day...
secondary language.
Yeah. No, it's not at
it's-
all. It's not a secondary language at all. But
I mean, still it's like your mother tongue, and you like definitely can relate more if like.
yeah, that's true.
There's a
That's true.
form of
But like, if you need to know that the majority of English listening listeners in Indonesia are actually concentrated in Jakarta. Yes, they teach English outside of Jakarta, but it's not that widely used as in the capital. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
Because like there's a thing. I don't want to really ridicule Indonesia anyway, but this is a fact where there's a separation between us and us, like the rich kids, or kind of like the educated kids, and the not so educated kids, kind of like not so lucky ones, you know. There's a disparity there.
Yeah.
Like it's really separate, and it's really it's there. It's really there, and like because I'm from South Jakarta, it's basically South Jakarta is where all the hip kids are. I didn't choose that, but that's where I am.
Okay.
So I got into like I know all of the people around South Jakarta, and like because it's kind of like the main hip area of Jakarta. It's like where the social center is, kind of like, you know. And outside of Jakarta, it's just. But nowadays, it's mainly like standardized in a way because social media is everywhere, and then I think majority of people now understand English now. But back in the day, there was a discrepancy there, like really, really clear.
I see.
Yeah.
One of the things like the Indonesian market is like population is really very huge. Actually, if you can really conquer the Indonesian market, I think you can survive by just being like Indonesian band. But did you guys like sort of try to like what do you guys try to do to like sort of bring it out of Indonesia, maybe reach the global market? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. We were always, as a Indonesian band, we were always like wanting to always pursue that outside sound, you know, like, but we're saying it as like bule sound. Bule is basically like Caucasian.
Okay.
What we say to like Caucasian people, but we always wanted that bule sound because we really wanted to sound like them.
We say angmo.
Yeah. Like that angmo sound. You know that.
Basically, it doesn't sound Indonesian.
Yeah, you don't want to sound Indonesian. You don't want to sound Indonesian at all. I think that's one of the major things that we did well with Sunrise. It's because the way that I'm singing in Sunrise when I'm pronouncing English words, it's kind of like sound to them. It sounded like it's bule, you know. Yeah, it's like it came from the States or whatever. Kind of like, you know. So we were always pursuing that. But then again, we always in the back of our minds we kind of think that going global is very, very hard. Back in the day, because we don't have any social stuff to share our music on. Yes, we have MySpace died. MySpace died, right? It should have survived, but then it died for some reason, and then it was very hard to get your music out there. And Facebook didn't really do shit, you know. And what Bandcamp and Reverb Nation and all that, it didn't do shit, you know. It was very hard to get your music out there. But nowadays we have Spotify. We have, you know, Deezer or whatever, a ton of music streaming platforms, which is, I think, a bit easier if you want to push songs out there. Because if you're seeing like one of the local acts from Indonesia that's actually globally recognized now is Rich Brian.
Right.
Yeah.
Rich Chiga.
Yeah, Rich Chiga, which is very, very globally famous now. And also the girl who sang the I Love You 3000 song.
Oh, the ukulele.
Yeah. I think it's the I Love You 3000.
I heard the song, but I saw the article on it.
She got very huge because of that song, and because she got pushed in a way that she got into this label, which is the same label as Rich Brian, which is that label. Yeah, so I think it's very easy, but if you only have the resources, you know. I think Rich Brian got where to he is now is not because that he has resources. It's because that he's that unique with his first release, and it gotten like a huge exposure because everybody was reacting to it and blah blah blah, and he was actually good.
Yeah,
he the lyrics were good, and his voice itself is very deep, and like it's very
was
unique.
The image was definitely like
and the English is very on point, right? So it's kind of like it sounded bule. It sounded like it came from the States.
Yeah, it sounded that, but then also the video like it's like
that's
authentic. It's very like
that's the thing, right?
Like local,
very local. But then holy shit, the sound is not local at all. So that's what gotten him to the stage right now, I think.
Nice.
But yeah.
Actually, I kind of asked that question because I was like quite curious, like how a bit of backstory of how you managed to contact Aeonix Productions. like Indonesian, because honestly we're not very familiar with like Indonesian scene. When like suddenly this Indonesian dude suddenly asked us to like do some mixing or editing for like really weird. Like how do you manage to like find?
I don't know, man. Okay, so
why did you
algorithm?
Why did I approach you guys?
Yeah, because like it's a bit like
it's because you were number one on SE.
Is it?
No.
Because I'm honestly quite curious. Like we've been trying to like sort of get like outside work from outside of Singapore. So we don't know how like from other countries are gonna find something like a small little home studio in Singapore.
Okay.
Yeah, so like it's quite interesting to hear that aspect of how How you managed to?
Well, it's sort of, but I don't think I'm the right guy to answer this, because like when I was searching for you guys, I was actually in Singapore.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was actually in Singapore, and I was actually like already living here with my wife,
Okay.
right? So like I think my Google is already polluted with ads from Singapore. That's why I think.
Okay.
So, but at that time I was actually starting to do like covers, right? So I was actually finding. Oh, actually, because I've known that there's a scene here in Singapore, right? And I've known Vals are from Singapore, and then I like their sound, and so when I was here, I was actually finding for music production houses in Singapore to possibly like can mix my music. So then I found you guys. That's basically, nothing special about that actually.
Just Google search.
Yeah, Google
just
search you
Google
guys. Oh
search.
hell yeah, Aeonix Productions.
So the lesson here is get good SEO.
Yeah, hell yeah,
Actually, I
dude.
don't do any SEO.
Hell yeah, dude. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the backstory. Basically, we kind of like mixed one of the cover songs.
Yeah,
Elisana,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it was Apology. I was actually like thinking like, maybe I could do something about this cover. Maybe I wanna, I wanna pay a few bucks to make
okay.
this song better than what it was, because I did like a few covers before I approached you guys, right? I did I did Helena on my own, and it was shitty, but I approached you guys like, maybe I wanted to do something like I just wanted to find someone who could like do professional mixing and production at the time.
Right.
And then you guys delivered, and
Nice.
then it's close to 200K now.
Yeah,
the video.
nice. Go check it out.
Yeah, you better check it out. Probably. Yeah.
But back in like Indonesia, like when you guys did your demo recordings or like recordings at the time, so did you guys go for like real studio?
Oh no, man.
So it's like very sort of indie.
This is a story. So the first time because at that time I was still in S.I.R.A with S.I.R.A, right? My first ever band, and then we wanted to do a recording for our song. The first song that we put out to was Dreams to Reality. That's the song. And then we already have it on paper. Yes, we still use paper at that.
You mean literally paper?
Hell yeah, we use paper, and we use voice notes from our flip phones. So yeah, we search high and low for production houses, but being that we are actually from South Jakarta, we just asked around. And actually one of the brother of our guitarist, which is Ami, his brother also has a band. And we heard his band song, and it sounded awesome. So we just asked him like, hey, I wanted to record with the guy who recorded this song as well, right? So then yeah, one thing leads to the other, and then we went to this guy's place to record. It's a very rundown place. It's only like it's very small. You could only fit like maybe 2 chairs inside, and then there's like the PC there. And then I remember that they used Nuendo to record it. And yeah, it's basically a bedroom studio.
Right.
Basically a bedroom studio. And then we recorded our first song there, and then it sounded great for some reason. It sounded unlike the rest of the songs that are on Myspace locally at the time. I think what contributed greatly was actually my brother's singing, because at that time there wasn't anyone who could sing that
kind of style, right?
That kind of style and that good. Yeah, so that contributed greatly, and then the quality of the production was also good at that time. I don't know, maybe you guys could listen to it, but yeah, at that time we were like, God damn, this is awesome.
Nice.
This is one of our like hit songs. Hell yeah. And it's actually being requested till today.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we recorded 2 songs there. Two songs there. We recorded Dreams to Reality, which is a very metal song. The second one, we recorded Children of the Sky. That's the title of the song. We were heavily influenced by Alexis on Fire at the time. From their album Crisis. Yeah, we were heavily influenced by them. And then the third song that we did, which is DN, which we had a new guitarist on board, which is the female guitarist. We recorded at a different home studio. A bigger studio. a more proper studio, and I still remember the engineer. A shout out to Anka. He recorded us. It was actually a homeroom studio, same like what you guys have here, but there's actually a bed there, as a bass trap or whatever. But yeah, we recorded the end there, and it sounded great because he was one of the and do you know how much we paid for that?
No idea. Do I want to know? Like, if you say these people don't record with us anymore.
But that was like what 10 years ago, dude. So and it was in Indonesia, and we recorded, and we only paid $25.
Oh shit, man!
Like Singapore dollars convert.
25 Singapore dollars.
Oh, yeah.
25 Singapore dollars for that quality of song. But because like it was just his way of putting himself out there,
Yeah.
It's kind of like him filling his portfolio.
Yeah, understand.
And he got a good band out of it because back in the day we were decent, And then yeah, after the end, that's it. The first time I recorded in a proper studio was when I was in that duo. Because we recorded at Musical Labels, big studio.
Okay.
And that was a big studio, and it sounded the same.
All right. Startling revelation.
I don't know, maybe it was the guy behind the controls. But I didn't see anything different about it. Maybe the mics used were different. Maybe the scene were different, like the space were different and everything. But yeah, it's the guy behind the controls, man. Yeah.
Actually, one question: like the big bands in that whole scene in Singapore, there's like maybe a few different production houses that are kind of responsible for a certain sound. Is that the case in like Jakarta or like Indonesia where it's like
Yeah. I can say for sure in Indonesia that's the case. I can name a few like big labels from from Indonesia, which mainly is from Jakarta. Mainly being Musical Label, because they produce some of the big band names from Jakarta, which is the likes of Peter Pan, The Massive, Niji, S.I.R.A, and even like legendary musicians like Ari Lasso and Iwan Fals, which is like big names in Indonesia, because they were there for like forever, because they were like one of the legendary music labels in Indonesia. So they were very, very well known, very renowned. But there's this like other label called Naga Suara. They were actually disrupting the music industry at one time because they produced like Melayu sounding songs, which is the likes of ST12 and Hijau Daun. Yeah. And I bet if you're Malay, you would know them because they're catering to, because their song is called Malay song.
Oh, is it?
Lagu Melayu. Yeah. I didn't really know why, but it's just the genre. It's a Malay song. It has that distinct vocal sound to it. It's very different. But yeah, if you want quality music, don't listen to them. If you want quality music, listen to Musica. Right. If you want mass market music, go listen to Naga Suara. It's kind of like that. That's the case. And then there were also like indie labels popping up here and there, which recorded Killing Me Inside, for example. They recorded Killing Me Inside, and then they went up huge, and like they recorded like a bunch of indie local bands, like Superman is Dead, like Upstairs, The Sigit, and like a bunch of local indie bands. Like
I see.
Because there's like a difference between indie bands and major bands, and it's really clear. Like in Indonesia.
It's definitely the same here as well.
Yeah.
But have you played in like a indie band and like a band that has been signed to a label, right? Like what's the difference? Like, is there anything that the label provide that you can?
Yeah.
Like, do you see value at this stage, like in this point of time? Or?
I could say that I'm from a unique place where I kind of dip my toes into both scenes. At first, we were just like touring with a van, with a 6-seater or like a minibus with a few bandmates, with a few other bands. Like usually, if it's like a minibus kind of thing, it's usually 3 bands crammed into one. Wow. And we toured Indonesia. And then if it's like just local gigs here and there, we just use our own transport. Usually, everyone will go to a base camp, and then we'll group there and then go from there from with a car or whatever. But what I experienced when I was in major label is that there's transport, there's like food, there's like even the the riders are different. You get like KFC instead of nasi padang. That's the main difference. You get different treatments for both. It's very very clear. But here's the thing that we need, that you guys need to know is that if you're doing tour, even if you're a major label band in Indonesia, if you're doing real tour, you'd have to go to the remote places in Indonesia. And yes, like for the big cities, you can like use like a big fancy ass air conditioned bus or whatever. But to go to those remote places, that's a whole different story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and such things happen because Indonesia is very very huge. Yeah.
Interesting.
But like marketing wise, do you see any difference? Like
Very very different.
big difference.
Very different. Marketing wise is that back in Indonesia there's this thing called Ringback Tone.
Is it like when people call you then?
Yes, that's a huge market. There's a huge market for that in Indonesia.
Okay.
Back in the day, like because if you're doing songs, if you're like promoting your songs and you're signed with a major label, you're cashing in with that RBT, that Ringback
Okay.
Tone. So the amount of like the income that you're generating is mostly from that. It's from Ringback Tone. Yeah,
Never
How does
heard
that
that.
work?
yeah, because like it's kind of like subscription based.
Okay.
Like nowadays it's subscription based, right? It's like it's like this. Like I have an alarm which I subscribe to this alarm thing which says good morning oppa, something like that, because it's a Korean K-pop girl saying good morning to me, so I subscribe to that because I'm a geek. It's kind of like the same, but you subscribe to this thing where if somebody calls you, they can hear that song. You're not actually hearing you're not actually hearing the song played, but somebody else is hearing the song. Like the dialing tone, it changes into that song.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's where the big bands make money. That's crazy, right? Yeah, because Indonesia is a very huge market. That's why like on the back of the album there's like RBT for this song is
Oh, is it? Okay.
yeah, #123 star.
Oh, okay.
Song name blah 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 and then hash something like that, and then you can SMS that code.
And
And
people
then-
will start hearing that.
Yeah, you can SMS that code to the provider, and then you can say yes or whatever, and then it will deduct from your credit, from your
About the prepaid card.
for your prepaid card or whatever, and then bands get off money from that.
Wow.
It's a very huge market.
Is it still like huge now? Like people to this?
If you're in a major label and then you're releasing your album, I still think there's RBT. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
because Indonesia is very huge, right? I think even like in the remote places, we don't have internet yet.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like some of the more remote places we don't have internet yet. And how do you want to hear like songs like that? We go to what we say a warnet. It's basically like a internet center, internet game center to do all of the browsing and blah blah blah. And the biggest market for bands are actually the ones outside of the capital, outside of Jakarta, which still do that, like RBT and Ringback Tone.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's very unique to Jakarta, I think,
Yeah.
and to Indonesia.
I mean, like last time, like 10, 15 years back, I remember like ringtones was still a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I never really heard of this ringback tone thing.
Yeah.
Quite interesting.
Yeah. I think it's an Indonesian thing.
Yeah.
I think it's an Indonesian, but I think it's an Indonesian. But back in the day, I always like when I had the chance, I buy alternative press magazines, right? And I think there's still like those star thing that you can like, subscribe to, but I don't know. I think that's a American thing. I don't know what they're promoting there, but I think they're actually doing the same thing, but I think it's a whole
something
different
similar.
ballgame. Yeah.
Interesting. Actually, one of the things I want to ask also is like, in Singapore, we don't have the luxury of like touring, and also like we don't have a lot of like venues that sort of let you play this kind of genre of music lah. Basically in Singapore, pretty much only have like maybe a good handful, or maybe less than 5 venues that you can actually really play. And so a lot of the gigs only rotates around the same 3 venues. It's kind of like it gets very boring after a while. Is it the same in like?
It's somewhat the same back in Indonesia. I'm only speaking from a guy that's a playing band in Jakarta because that's where I'm from. But it's mostly the same in a way that when I played with my band, this is like talking way back when I was still in S.I.R.A, right? When I was still in Soul and Rebel Art. There's like only a couple of venues that you can play, but there's a thing called pensi. It's a short form of for pentas seni, which is kind of like a art exhibition. It's kind of like a school event.
Oh, okay.
In a way, you know.
Right.
But that's where most of the indie band plays. There's like probably like a few hundred schools in Indonesia, right? In Jakarta and Indonesia actually. And then they held this school event called Pensi to always attract indie bands and bands to perform there. And like back in the day, this is actually way before I got into bands and stuff. I know that like there were huge school events, and then they would book like a stadium for it, just for it.
Wow.
It's
okay.
So let's say it's from SMA 6. So 6 senior high school, 6 because we go by digits there in Indonesia. There's like the 6 senior high school, and then 70 senior high school.
Oh, okay.
There's like 28 senior high school because we go by digits. Those schools that goes by digits are kind of like the state's schools, the public schools. So yeah, those are actually like the big names, you know. And then at one point, I think I remember that the 6 senior high school, they held this very big event, which is, and then they also have like this name for that for those specific events, those specific pensi. I kind of forget some of them, but what I remembered is there's one called Superman school event. And then they booked out this huge stadium, and then they book like big name bands like Niji, Superman is Dead, like a few solo acts, like, and also like a bunch of indie acts. One of the most renowned indie act that was always playing inside on school events was the Sigit and the Upstairs. They were like Brit rock kind of bands, you know.
Okay.
And there was an era where Brit rock was a thing in Indonesia, and then there was the emo phase where everyone was just emo. It was crazy. There was a whole era dedicated to Brit rock, and then to emo, and then now it's just a mixed pot of everything. But yeah, there was school events back in the day. But when I was playing with S.I.R.A and also Sunrise, actually, we only have like a handful of event spaces, you know, venues. We have like a few in South Jakarta, and like a couple of other in North Jakarta and West Jakarta, and blah blah blah. But there's always events. There are big events, there are small events, depending on like the team that's backing up the event.
Okay.
Like the event team that's backing up the event. If it's like for a magazine kind of event, you know, like the big name events, it's packed. It depends on like who's playing, you know. Right. But there's always an event. Like every weekends when I was with S.I.R.A, when I was with Soul and Rebel Art, every weekend we played.
Oh wow! Okay.
Every weekend we played. Sometimes it's Saturday and Sunday.
But always at different venues.
Different venues. Always different venues. Sometimes it's Jakarta. Sometimes it's Bogor. Sometimes it's Bandung. Because
so
because
you actually travel out.
Yeah, travel out of Jakarta, right? But Bandung is only like at the time 2.5 hours to go.
Oh, okay.
So we go there in the morning. We prep up. We usually go to like we call them distros, distribution outlets for actually, but they're actually like clothing brands. They're scattered out throughout Bandung because they were actually holding those events.
Okay.
You know, like promoting their brand and all that. We went to their shop. We picked out free merch from them, and then we hang a bit, and then we played the night, and then we go back to Jakarta. There was like mostly what went down back in the day, but there were also like official big events like Java Jazz for the jazz players, and then there's also like Hammer Sonic, which is happening like next month. Next month, and then there's also like Java Rocking Land. Yeah, if you're big, if you're huge, you're bound to play there. Like,
those festivals.
If you're like because Java Rocking Land is basically it's for metal bands and like rock bands. I think even a few of bands, American bands played there.
Right. Nice.
Yeah. So there are like stages to different stages of events, school events, like gigs. We call them gigs. Gigs with different venues all over Jakarta, outside Jakarta, and all that. And then there's like the official big events. There's no shortage of events back in Indonesia.
Nice.
Yeah.
So like the gigs are like organized by.
Sometimes
More-
it's yes. Sometimes it's like a group of people just inviting their friends to play, and also like if they know this band, also they can invite them and stuff. But it's usually you pay to play the gigs.
Oh shit, is it?
Yeah, sometimes because
Oh, okay.
because if you're starting out, you don't have a name, right?
Yeah.
If you're starting out, you pay.
To sell tickets.
Yeah, sometimes you sell tickets, or sometimes you just straight on pay $15 or $20 to play a slot.
Okay.
To play a slot.
That's not
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean 10 years ago, like our first band we did something like that. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's like quite a common thing. It's called like pay to play gigs.
Yeah.
Basically, like, the
Pay
organizers.
to play. Hell yeah.
Yeah, they just force the band to like sell tickets.
Yeah.
So every band need to sell like 20 tickets.
Yeah. Sometimes we sell tickets. Sometimes we just pay dead on, and
Yeah.
other times. But if we when at the point of time where S.I.R.A is actually known, we didn't need to pay anything else. We get requested to play events and stuff, and then we get KFC as well, right? Hell yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So like those pay to play gigs were like quite notorious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you couldn't get like you couldn't sell 20 tickets, you just like pay out of your pocket. So
But then again, like you do what you do, right? You do what you can to get your name out there, you know?
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's common everywhere, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting because like in Singapore, definitely a band can't be playing. There's no way that you can play every weekend. There's not enough like shows, or even if there is enough shows, you pretty much play to the same audience. So
Really? Oh yeah.
as in the scene is quite small, so
Yeah.
you just
I can't really play
So
everything.
yeah. So there's like a separation between actually like genres back in Indonesia, right? There's the punk genre and also the, like the punk fans, and then there's like the metal and emo fans. And usually the metal and emo fans are actually more. It's more, you know, they look more they look more cleaner in a way.
is it okay?
Yeah. They kind of like present themselves more cleaner. They present themselves as a more like educated person kind of like thing.
Okay.
And aside from the punk fans, they're just like rowdy, just for the sake of it, hella good fans, you know, just crazy people and all that. And then there's the Skinners, the Skas, the Skinners.
Like-
And then those were the worst actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are the worst because usually they go to events to just get drunk and then fuck shit up.
Right, yeah.
And yeah, those are like the three most common differences of like fans: punk fans, emo and metal fans, like post-hardcore fans, and then the Skinners.
Damn.
Yeah.
Actually, like since you've been here how long have you been here in like Singapore?
2 years, man.
2 years.
Yeah.
Well, so like what's one of the most like stark differences in like the culture of the local scenes here? Have you like noticed like last time we used to say like in Singapore people don't really support like local music, that kind of thing. Is there like very big difference in how music is being
I think,
distributed around and like shared?
well, the thing is this, like because Singaporean has like two languages in a way, or three languages in a way, right? There's Malay, there's English, there's Chinese, right? But I mean,
Tamil also lah. Like Tamil.
yeah.
For national.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Because what's different is about Indonesia is that Indonesia has only one language, Indonesian, but that's also like that's the negative of it, because there's like a bunch of Indonesian songs out there, and you kind of have to weed out the good ones from the bad.
Okay.
What's the difference is about Singapore is that I don't know. I'm just like staying here for 2 years. I don't really know the scene here, like the mainstream music scene here. Like
Mainstream, okay.
Yeah, what's considered like popular here in Singapore? I don't even know. What I know is like I only know like some bands like Sam Willows, like one of the more
Yeah, I guess-
popular
guess
bands,
they
I
are.
guess.
Yeah.
But they are like
I think they are not.
hiatus now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's about it, dude. Like my knowledge for the Singaporean music scene as it's very very shallow.
Okay, time for a pop quiz.
Oh
Need to
shit.
Start naming local bands in Singapore.
Oh crap.
Can you name some like
Or like any
or just like
Singaporean artists that
yeah,
The
I don't know.
mainstream ones?
like any
Any-
man, like any
No, I can't. No, really, man. It's like because I don't know. It's maybe if I'm really interested in the music scene, in the popular music scene here in Singapore, maybe I know. But like the majority of them, I don't really know because yeah, like I don't know. At a glance, like majority of them are Chinese, so I can't really. I don't really.
But what about like
follow.
as in the underground bands? Like back in when you're in like Indonesia, have you like maybe Vils is like one of those?
Yeah, it's only
Is
them.
that- it's only them.
Only them.
Okay.
Only them. Really.
But actually, how? But you go to know them because like the bassist is like
I
a
think-
acquaintance of like
Yeah, because everybody knows everybody in the
Uh-huh.
scene back in Jakarta and Indonesia, right? And Agung, the bassist for Vals, was actually doing bass for Killing Me Inside at one point.
Oh, okay.
He was also the session player for Killing Me Inside at one point, and then they did. Yeah. I think that was it, and he was doing that, and then one thing leads to the other, and because everybody knows everybody, we got to talking and blah blah. Me and Agung personally, we didn't even like, hey, I'm Adri. I'm Agung. No, we didn't really introduce ourselves. Yeah, because we were like, yeah, hey, dude, you're with S.I.R.A. Like, oh, you're with Sunrise. Like, straight away, like we've gotten to know each other, but we don't really introduce ourselves. It's very weird. But yeah.
It's quite weird. Like in this like social media age, like
Yeah. That's the
there are a
thing.
lot of
I think it's because of social media as well.
yeah, it's like I got a lot of friends on Facebook but I've never met or like I've just like known for years but only met for like the first time kind of thing.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
very weird. But I think like one of the Singaporean bands that we know was actually Vals because they put up like one of the songs that we actually this is a Singaporean band and blah blah blah. It was actually like
I see.
this City of Gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were like, we were like actually studying them. Oh damn, this Singaporean songs are like this. Blah 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 blah.
Oh, no.
But the thing is, like, the YouTube algorithm didn't do any help for the other Singaporean bands.
Yeah, that's the thing also. Like now that you mention it, like I try to recall like what other Indonesian bands that I've heard of.
Like
Like,
Divide is probably the one.
yeah, Divide.
Because I think they work with Vils.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, they
maybe
work with
there's
Monster-
always like a
Monster
connection, right?
Yeah.
yeah, Monster in Flash. They feature one song.
Yeah, Monster in Flash. They
Yeah.
I think the singer.
Another one is Revenge the Fate.
Yeah, Revenge to Fate.
Yeah. And my friend's band they played with them
Mm.
in this like metal festival in Bandung like last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they played in Singapore for the S.I.R.A. dying show. So
Yeah.
they were the opening band.
Yeah, they're very huge in Indonesia because at one point they're very huge in Indonesia.
Yeah.
The Justin Ang guy is from Indonesia. Is it?
Malaysia.
Is it Malaysia? I don't know.
Yeah, Malaysia I think.
What's his band? Something thousand, is it?
No, I got some other band now.
I don't know. What is it.
Some band from I don't know.
I always thought it's Indonesia. I don't know.
no, Malaysian.
But that's the thing, man. Like we didn't even know there was a scene here in Singapore.
Yeah. I mean it's quite hard to like
It's
even
sad,
like,
right?
Yeah,
In a way.
like we're so near to each other. But,
Yeah,
but we can't really
Yeah,
we
but here's
can't
the thing
really
though,
connect them.
like
Australia.
if you guys are playing in Indonesia, we would see you as a band that's we respect you guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because we're always seeing like outsider bands like outside from our country as like a figure that we need to look up to.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
definitely,
always like that.
Yeah.
Even though like you're from Malaysia or like Philippines or whatever, like close by, if you're from outside of Jakarta, we respect you.
Ooh.
Yeah, we see you as like, oh shit, you guys are awesome. Even though if let's say you're playing shitty songs, but still you guys are from outside of Jakarta.
You guys really here.
Yeah, man, like you
These guys are playing like overseas shows. And
yeah, you
they
guys
must be
like
doing something
you're
right.
foreigners, you know,
Yeah.
like we look up to you guys.
I think that kind of makes sense that like you really have to go play the shows locally in that country to really start building a following lah.
Yeah.
Mm.
At one point of time, SOG was playing Indonesia like constantly at one point of time because their drummer actually was. They have like relations here or whatever. Like they know like some of the people here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I forgot the band name, the Indonesian band, but they have connection to SOG. The SOG guys was constantly play in Indonesia, in Jakarta, all around Jakarta. Aside from that, like, you know.
Yeah, but the weird thing is like, Australian bands somehow they can like they're living in like their own little continent, but
Yeah.
basically so many like good bands that come
Yeah,
Australia, but
yeah,
you don't
man.
even I don't know no idea how that works but
I mean, a bit different also.
I think it's a bit different also,
Yeah.
and I think it helps because being Caucasian, like
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, image-wise, people don't really see it.
Yeah, image-wise, like
like
it's kind of like the same as in Canada or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's you're Caucasian in a way, like because it's easier to connect in a way. I think I think that's the case because we're Asia, because we're Asian. I think it's different of their perspective on us is different in a way.
yeah.
But it's always but one country that's unique is Japan,
yeah.
right? Japan always has like a worldwide following.
Yeah, that's one of the unique things. So like,
Yeah.
John, you were saying like your band, you mix like the English lyrics in.
Yeah.
But there are like some Japanese band who just perform like all Japanese lyrics, but they still can get
Yeah.
like, worldwide following that kind of
That's
thing. So,
crazy.
yeah, it's like quite
That's crazy.
unique. Like
Yeah, that's crazy. Like
not something you can just like recreate.
yeah, like Larkin Seal is very big in Jakarta, in Indonesia. It's very big. But then again, like most of our childhood we watch anime. I think that's
true.
one of the
Yeah,
reasons.
that's definitely.
But also
Yeah.
like Swedish bands.
Yeah. Then again, like
But yeah.
yeah, I think it's the same because European, like American or whatever, it's still in the same melting pot kind of thing.
True.
It's
that's
just
true.
different that we're in Asians. It's kind of different, but just Japan is very unique.
Yeah.
In a way. And Korea is the number one now.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can try to start something like bringing all the different like Thailand, Malaysia,
Southeast-
Singapore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whole Southeast Asia kind of like the whole scene together and like what you can do
Yeah.
a proper I don't know
yeah,
community.
Yeah, man.
That'd be
Like,
more
There
interesting.
should be
Like
like
I-
something that like connect everyone in the region.
yeah. I mean, back in the day, like I've known a couple of bands from the Philippines, like. Like back in the day when we still have MySpace, I actually connected with the guys from Typecast.
Okay, I heard that before.
Yeah, and actually, we actually covered one of their songs. So,
Nice.
like the sit down I did with my brother, we actually covered one of their songs
Nice.
because they were actually singing in English, and we kind of connected through that. And then they also they were actually sponsored by Macbeth at one
Wow.
point.
Okay.
So we were like, oh shit, it's a band from Philippines, and they're with Macbeth, and then oh shit. And they had a kick-ass MySpace page. That's also one of the case. And then and like a few bands from Thailand. I know like Body Slam is very big there. Yeah, Body Slam is very big there. And Vietnam is like currently the only band that I know is Windrunner.
Oh, Windrunner.
Yeah. But I know that they have a bunch of awesome bands there. It's just that it's not really, exposed. But then again, like with YouTube and everything, I think it's getting easier by the minute to expose yourselves.
There's this like website, Unite Asia.
Hmm?
There's this website, Unite
Yeah,
Asia.
but they always publish like different musics from the region,
Yeah.
so they will like promote this kind
You
of
can
thing.
just like submit your song and they'll just put
Interesting.
articles. Yeah. They feature every band from like in Asia lor. So Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore also have. Yeah. I think the guy is based in Hong Kong or something. Yeah.
Really? Interesting. Interesting. I think like one of the reasons is also like back in the day why we influence ourselves towards the the American bands because like MTV, Channel V, and because torrent,
And that's like the sound that you.
Napster.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, like those were the key factors in,
Yeah.
in exposing their
Yeah.
music.
Okay lah. I think we're like 1 hour 40 minutes in. Okay, maybe I can wrap up with like we'll end off like this whole podcast with any sort of like recommendations or like new things that you have gotten that maybe you want to like shout out. Like we usually like ask like the guests to like, hey, have you any like new workflow, new equipment or even new music that you've been listening to that you want to maybe share or something?
Interesting.
Or maybe are you listening to what music are you listening to like right now? Like top 5 things that you've been jamming.
I don't know, man. Actually, I've been listening to like a lot of old school emo songs, and also like a bunch of Japanese songs and a bunch of K-pop.
Is it?
But yeah, I mean it's a mix of everything currently. But I've been actually listening to what's it called? Fuck, I forgot the name of the band. It's a Japanese band. Wait, let me check my Spotify.
What kind of genre is it?
It's metal. It's metalcore.
Metal? Okay.
Yeah. Wait.
Crystal Lake.
Yeah, well, Crystal Lake, of course. But I've been listening to
Korean.
yeah, Coltrane actually.
Korean. Oh, is
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm listening to them, but it just popped up.
They've got like a very westernized sound also lah.
Yeah, very Western sound.
Yeah.
So because of them, I've been also listening. Well, it's not because of them. I've been kind of like in searching for some Japanese sounds. Like listening to Bandmade.
Okay.
Yeah, and then like this band called the 12 in something. I forgot the name, but they have an awesome song. Let's see, it's the 12. I don't know. It's a Japanese band. 12 something. But yeah, it's a bunch of Japanese bands I'm listening to right now.
Okay.
Which I can't even remember the name of it because I just have it on autoplay.
Actually, the thing about Japanese bands and their songs is like don't know what the songs title
Yeah,
are.
man. Like I
know it's
can't,
like certain words, but
yeah, I can't really find them like now. I don't really remember what their name is. Nope, it's not here. Oh, I'm still I'm like listening to like old songs from Slipknot. Yeah,
nice. In preparation for
Hammer Sonic,
Sonic.
definitely.
What's your top 3 favorite Slipknot songs?
Oh, top 3 favorite Slipknot songs. One of them is My Plague.
Okay, never heard before.
Yeah, My Plague, Wait and Bleed, and one from the best albums for me, the Subliminal Verses album, which is I forgot, the Opium for the People, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was there here before. Yeah, not really into like Slipknot, but
Oh, and Vermilion actually. Vermilion.
damn.
I'm very into Slipknot because I respect the vocalist. Yeah.
Probably only favorite song is like Before I Forget.
That's like the newer ones.
Is it newer one?
Yeah, it's not that new, but
It's like in the middle, I guess. I don't
yeah,
know.
it's kind of like in the middle. But then again, it's kind of like where they
Like they
branch
transition.
out in a way. You know,
Okay,
you got into kind of like I'm in the mainstream,
more commercial sound.
more commercial,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Okay, any last things you want to plug or?
Oh, I'm gonna plug my own band, Cry Hearts. Hell yeah. We're releasing a new cover song soon with video. So you guys should check that on youtube.com/cryheartsofficial. We're also on Spotify. And then I'm also plugging my own YouTube channel, which I actually do like reviews for local bands and also bands, but it's mostly in Bahasa Indonesia. Yeah, but if I get like viewers from Singapore or anywhere else, I would probably take into consideration adding in subtitles.
Actually, can you just does the auto thing work?
No, it doesn't work
Not
for me.
very close. Very bad?
No, it's very bad for me. It doesn't work for me. But yeah, and I think that's about it, man.
Maybe we should consider like really adding subtitles. You know, like there's this like Japanese like vlogger
Yeah.
guy in Singapore that he does like some of the videos in like fully Japanese also, yeah. Where he like vlogs about like living in Singapore.
Yeah.
And it's actually gaining quite a popularity.
Really? Okay, I'll take
Yeah.
that into consideration. Because I actually hired a guy from Fiverr.
To subtitle.
Yeah, to like transcript the video and like do subtitles, and it was shit, dude.
I was like thinking, wow,
yeah,
if it
man,
really works for $5.
yeah, $5 got just like that. But yeah, I mean, takes work, man. I don't know.
Alright.
We'll see. We'll see how the metric goes,
Let's do it, man.
Oh,
Alright.
yeah.
I guess that's the end. Okay. Hopefully there's another episode next week.
Okay, awesome.
Alright.
Thank
See
you for
guys.
having me.
See you guys.
See you.